The Galactic Council had seen everything. Ancient wars, collapsing stars, species that rose from nothing and vanished into dust. Nothing surprised them anymore, at least. That is what they believed. The council chamber floated in open space, larger than some moons. Its walls were made of living crystal, glowing softly with the light of 1,000 civilizations. Delegates from across the galaxy sat in silence, their forms strange and powerful, towering insect lords, floating energy mines, scaled war, and beings made of pure light. Today was supposed to be simple. 1 minor species, 1 short introduction, 1 quiet rejection. The species was called humanity. They came from a small yellow star system on the far edge of known space, a place most charts barely marked. Their world, Earth, was classified as unstable, aggressive, and technologically behind. The council expected noise. They expected speeches. They expected begging. They expected fear. Instead, there was silence. The council's sensors had detected the arrival moments ago. Not through normal warplanes. Not through council-approved gates. Something else. The chamber's central star map flickered. A new symbol appeared. Then another. Then hundreds more. The glowing map slowly zoomed out as the system struggled to process what it was seeing. Entire regions of space. Phil, the automated voice of the council, paused for the first time in recorded history. Unidentified fleet. Detected. A low murmur spread through the chamber. Fleet. No. That word was wrong. The map adjusted again. Gasps. Echoed clicks. Vibrations. Psychic shockwaves. What filled the void was not a fleet. It was a wall. Ships. The size of cities drifted in perfect formation. Dark holes covered in faint blue light. No banners. No markings. No active weapons. They were waiting. At the center of it all, 1 ship moved forward. It was massive. Longer than a council dread state. Smooth and silent, like a blade sliding through water. Its surface reflected the starlight like polished stone. The ship did not announce itself. It did not send a signal. It simply stopped. Directly in front of the council chamber. The silence deepened. Several council members felt something they had not felt in centuries. Unease, the high speaker of the council, an ancient being of folded light and memory, finally spoke. Identify yourselves. For a long moment nothing happened. Then a single transmission opened. No music, no symbols, no threats, just a human voice. .com. Controlled. Unafraid. This is the Terran diplomatic vessel Quiet Resolve, the voice said. We are humanity. We have arrived as invited. Invited. The word echoed in the minds of every delegate. The invitation had been a formality, a test. Humanity was never expected to come in for certainly. Not like this. The high speaker adjusted its light. You are early? It said carefully. No, the human replied. We are on time. Another pause. The council scanners swept the human ships again. The readings made no sense. No visible shields. No exposed weapons. Energy signatures that vanished. When measured. One of the military delegates whispered a warning through encrypted channels. These ships are hiding something. Another responded with fear. Or they don't need to hide at all. The human ship remained still. No movement, no threat. That somehow made it worse. The high speaker gestured, and a corridor of light formed, allowing the human representatives to enter the chamber. Again. The council expected spectacle. They expected armored warriors, or machines, or towering figures of dominance. What stepped forward were humans. Small, soft looking. 2 arms, 2 legs. No natural armor, no claws, no glowing eyes. They wore simple dark clothing, and they walked with confidence. The lead human stopped at the center of the chamber. He did not bow. He did not kneel. He simply stood. My name is Elias Monroe, he said. I speak for Earth. The council studied him. So fragile, some thought. So calm. Others feared. The high speaker asked the question. Everyone was thinking, why do you bring so many ships? Elias did not answer right away. He looked around the chamber at beings who ruled stars, commanded armadas, and erased species with votes. Then he spoke. Because you asked us to come honestly. A ripple of confusion passed through the council. The human continued. You asked who we are. You asked what we stand for. You asked whether we could be trusted. He paused. So he brought everything that answers those questions. The chamber darkened slightly as the star map changed again. The human fleet shifted. Position. Not aggressively. Protectively. The realization hit the council all at once. These ships were not pointed outward. They were facing inward, toward Earth. They were guarding something, or someone. The High Speaker felt something close to shock. You came, prepared to defend yourselves? It asked. Elias met the ancient being's gaze. No, he said quietly. We came prepared to be judged. Fairly. Silence returned, heavier than before. The council understood. Now, humanity had not come to beg. They had not come to threaten. They had come to stand. And for the first time since the Galactic Council was formed, the entire galaxy realized one terrifying truth. Earth had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same again. The silence did not break easily. After the human finished speaking, the Galactic Council remained still. No votes were cast. No signals were sent. The ancient chamber felt heavier, as if the stars outside were listening. The High Speaker, finally, turned its light toward the other council members. You may speak, it said. That was all it took. Voices erupted across the chamber. They are bluffing. A show of strength. Nothing more. Every young species tries this. One elder delegate, covered in silver scales, struck the floor with a staff of energy. Humans are emotional, it said. They fight among themselves. Their history is violent and short. This display proves fear, not power. Several members agreed. Humanity was new. Species always overestimated themselves. The council had seen this many times before. A species would grow fast, build weapons, dream of importance. Then reality would crush them. Another delegate, a floating mind wrapped in glowing rings, spoke calmly. They crossed half the galaxy without detection. That only means we missed something, replied a military lord. Not that they are superior. The council chose comfort over caution. That was their first mistake. The High Speaker faced Elias Monroe again. Your presence has been noted, it said. But your numbers are, excessive. You were invited to speak, not to intimidate. Elias listened without emotion. We did not come to intimidate, he replied. We came to be clear. That answer annoyed many in the chamber. Cliff was not how the council liked things. They preferred layers. Ambiguity. Control. The High Speaker continued. Then you will send your fleet away, it said. Your representative may remain. Elias did not move. Our fleet will remain, he said simply. The chamber reacted instantly. Energy fields flickered. Defense systems warmed. Military delegates leaned forward. The council felt challenged. The High Speaker's light sharpened. This is not a request. Elias nodded once. I understand. That was all. No anger, no fear, no apology. The council whispered among themselves. He refuses. They think themselves equals. Typical. One senior member made a quiet proposal through private channels. Allow them in and let them speak, then dismiss them. Another added, yes, let the galaxy see how small they really are. The High Speaker made a decision. Very well, it announced. Humanity will be granted limited access. The word limited was important. It meant power stayed with the council. Elias inclined his head slightly. Thank you. The human delegation moved deeper into the chamber. As they walked, the council studied them closely. Their heartbeats were steady. Their movements calm, no signs of stress. That was unusual. Most species entering the council chamber felt pressure. Fear. Humans felt focused. The council assumed this was courage, born of ignorance. They did not yet understand the difference. Behind the scenes, council scientists worked quickly. They ran deeper scans of the human fleet. Again, the results failed. Every advanced sensor returned empty data. Energy readings cancelled themselves out. Ship mass changed depending on how it was measured. This is impossible. One analyst whispered. Another replied. Or it is controlled. The words spread quietly. Controlled. That idea made many uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the human ships did something strange. They adjusted position. Not closer, not farther. They shifted into a wider, formation. Defensive, protective. The council assumed they were guarding Earth from retaliation. They were wrong. Elias reached the central platform. State your purpose, the High Speaker commanded. Elias took a breath. We are here to join, he said. Not to rule, not to submit, to stand equal. A few delegates laughed. Equal. A word the council rarely heard. You are not equal, a warlord hissed. You have not earned that right. Elias did not argue. Instead, he asked a question. How many species have you erased? The chamber froze. That question is irrelevant. The High Speaker said sharply. Elias looked around the chamber. You keep records, he said. You count everything. The council shifted. Some members grew uneasy. The assumption began to crack. Still, pride held strong. You accuse us without proof, the High Speaker said. Elias raised a small device. Then allow us to present proof, he replied. The council hesitated. Allowing data from a young species was risky, but denying it would look like fear. The High Speaker agreed. Proceed, it said. The device activated. The chamber lights dimmed. The star map changed not to Earth, but to dozens of worlds. Dead worlds. The council gasped as images filled the air. Planets stripped bare. Atmospheres burned away. Civilizations erased. Dates appeared. Names. Council records. Hidden records. The council realized something far too late. Humans had not come to learn. They had already learned. The assumption shattered. The silence returned heavier, sharper, and for the first time, doubt crept into the hearts of those who ruled the galaxy. Because maybe, just maybe, humanity was not here to be judged. Maybe the council was. The Galactic Council chamber felt different now. Moments ago, it had been loud with confidence. Now, it was quiet with fear. The images still floated in the air. Dead worlds, broken cities, erased species, council records that were never meant to be seen by outsiders. Records only the highest members knew existed. The High Speaker's light flickered. That data is classified, it said. Elias Monroe stood calmly at the center of the chamber. He did not raise his voice. He did not show anger. He replied. Until today. The council members exchanged uneasy signals. Some turned their attention inward, speaking through private channels. Others stared at the images, unable to look away. Humanity had crossed a line. And yet, no alarms sounded, no weapons powered up. That confused the council more than any threat. You accuse us of crimes, a military delegate said. Yet you bring no armies into this chamber. Elias nodded slightly. That is correct. Why? The delegate demanded. Elias paused before answering. Not for drama, but to choose simple words. Because armies make people stop listening, he said. We want you to listen. That answer unsettled them. Most species spoke loudly when they were weak. Humans spoke softly. The High Speaker addressed him again. You claim knowledge beyond your place in the galaxy, it said. Explain how. Elias raised his eyes. We watched, he said. The chamber reacted. From where? How? For how long? Elias answered slowly. Since before you noticed us, he said. Since before you classified us as irrelevant. That should have been impossible. Earth was young. Humanity was young. The council had records to prove it. And yet, the data floating before them said otherwise. Elias continued. You thought we were noisy, he said. Violent. Divided. Some council members nodded. That was true. You thought we were dangerous because we fought each other. Elias went on. He paused. You never asked what fighting taught us. Silence. Humans learn quickly, Elias said. We adapt. We remember. And when we are hurt, we change. The council felt the weight of those words. Elias turned slightly, gesturing to the images. These worlds fell because you believed power meant control, he said. You decided who lived and who did not. The High Speaker stiffened. We maintain order, it said. Elias looked directly at it. You maintain silence, he replied. The chamber grew colder. You erase species quietly, Elias continued. No wars, no warnings, no witnesses. He lowered his hand. Urs noticed. One council member spoke in a low tone. If you noticed, why did you not act sooner? Elias did not answer immediately. When he did, his voice was steady. Because we were not ready. That sentence hit harder than any threat. Not ready. Meaning, now they were. Elias continued. We spent centuries learning your patterns, he said. Your trade routes. Your wars. Your lies. The council felt exposed. Our ships were never meant to impress you, Elias said. They exist to protect us from you. Several members reacted at once. You admit hostility. You threaten the council. Elias raised one hand gently. No, he said. I explain reality. He looked around the chamber. We do not want your seats, he said. We do not want your empires. Then he said the words that changed everything. We want accountability. The council had no response. Accountability was not a word often used here. The High Speaker spoke carefully. And if we refuse? Elias met its gaze. Then nothing changes, he said. Except now. The galaxy knows. The chamber reacted with shock. You would expose us, one delegate hissed. Elias nodded. Double quotes. Yes. The council understood the danger. Fear worked in. Silence. Power worked in shadows. Humans threatened light. Another delegate asked the question no one wanted to ask. If you are so powerful, it said, why speak at all? Elias smiled faintly, not with pride, but with sadness. Because power, without restraint, becomes you, he said. That sentence cut deep. The High Speaker felt something it had not felt in ages. Doubt. Elias straightened. Earth did not come to destroy the council, he said. We came to give you a choice. The images shifted again. This time, not dead worlds but living ones. Worlds under threat. Wars about to begin. Votes waiting to be cast. We know what you plan next, Elias said, and we are asking you to stop. The council saw it clearly. Now, humanity was not reacting. They were ahead. The High Speaker spoke softly. You speak as if you already belong here. Elias answered without hesitation. We do, he said. The silence returned. Not shocked silence. Not fearful silence. Thinking silence. The kind that comes before history changes. And as the council sat in that silence, one truth became impossible. To deny. Humanity did not raise its voice, because it did not need to. The silence inside the Galactic Council chamber felt different now. It was no longer empty. It was heavy with understanding. The High Speaker studied the humans standing before them. Elias Monroe did not look powerful. He did not glow. He did not command fleets with his voice. And yet, the room listened to him. You claimed knowledge, the High Speaker said slowly. Knowledge that took us millions of cycles to gather. Elias nodded. Yes. A murmur spread across the chamber. That is impossible, a science delegate said. Your species is too young. Elias did not argue. Instead, he gestured to the air. The images changed again. This time, they showed Earth not the chaotic, violent world the council records described, but something else. Human satellites filled the sky. Quiet. Watching. Listening. Learning. Deep space. Stations hidden in dark orbits. Signals flowing in patterns too complex to trace. We did not race outward, Elias said. We looked inward first. The council watched in silence. When we discovered we were not alone, Elias continued, we did not shout. The image shifted. Human telescopes, ancient and modern radio arrays, silent observatories placed far from Earth's noise. We listened. The council began to understand. You hid, one delegate whispered. Elias shook his head. We waited, he said. The image moved forward in time. Alien fleets passing through space. Council warships engaging distant species. Treaties signed and quietly broken. All of it, Elias said. We saw all of it. The High Speaker's light dimmed. You were spying, it said. Elias answered calmly. We were surviving. The chamber remained still. The images zoomed in on destroyed worlds again. But this time, something new appeared. Human markers. Human observation logs. Human rescue attempts. Aborted. Why did you not interfere? A delegate demanded. Elias looked at the image of a dead world. Because we could not, he said. Not. Then, the council heard the pain in his voice. We were not strong enough. Elias continued. And strength without understanding is just violence. That statement struck deep. The images changed again. Human cities growing. Technology advancing. Wars on Earth. But lessons learned. Mistakes recorded. Failures studied. We hurt ourselves, Elias said. And we learned why. The council shifted uncomfortably. Humans did not hide their past. They studied it. Then came the final reveal. The image expanded outward, far beyond known space. Hidden human shipyards. Massive structures, built in silence. Not rushed. Not flashy. Patient. You never saw us because we did not want to be seen, Elias said. We built in places you stopped watching. A military delegate leaned forward. That scale. That technology. How? Elias answered with simple truth. We planned long-term. The council did not. They ruled moment to moment, vote to vote. Crisis to crisis. Humans planned for centuries then. The image shifted one last time. A projection of the human fleet. But now, the council saw what the scanners could not show. Layered defenses. Adaptive systems. Technologies that rewrote physics instead of breaking it. The fleet was not aggressive, it was absolute. The high speaker felt something close to fear. You could have attacked. It said you could have ended us. Elias nodded. Double quotes. Yes. The chamber tensed. Why didn't you? Another delegate asked. Elias took a slow breath. Because we know what it feels like to be judged by the powerful, he said. And we promised ourselves never to become that. Silence returned. But this time, it was respectful. Elias stepped forward slightly. You thought Earth was weak, he said. You assumed our noise meant chaos. He looked around the chamber. You never noticed when we went quiet? That was the truth. The council had ignored silence, confused it for weakness. The high speaker lowered its light. What do you want from us? It asked. Elias answered clearly. Transparency, he said. Truth, and an end to silent extinction. The council felt the weight of that demand. It was not domination. It was responsibility. You threatened the balance, a delegate said. Elias shook his head. No, he replied. We reveal. The images faded. The chamber lights returned. The council members looked at one another, no longer confident, no longer certain. They had built their power on control. Humanity built its power on restraint. The high speaker finally spoke. Your truth changes everything, it said. Elias met its gaze. Good, he replied. It should. The silence that followed was not fear, it was realization, because the Galactic Council now understood the final truth. Earth had never been behind. Earth had been watching. And now, Earth had stepped forward. The silence did not last long. Across the galaxy, systems began to change. Signals spread faster than ships ever could. Data copied itself, jumping from relay to relay. Hidden council records leaked. Human evidence reached places the council had never intended to touch. The galaxy was watching now, and it was reacting. On distant worlds, leaders froze as the truth appeared on their screens. Images of destroyed civilizations. Council votes that ended entire species with quiet approval. Panic came first. Old allies of the council shut down borders. Fleets were recalled. Emergency meetings were called in voices filled with fear. They lied to us. We trusted them. Are we next? The council had always ruled through confidence. Now that confidence was gone, fear followed close behind. Smaller empires remembered old disputes, votes that had gone against them, worlds that had mysteriously vanished after asking the wrong questions. Now they knew why. On many planets, citizens filled the streets, not with weapons, but with questions. Who decides our fate? How many were erased? Who is watching us now? The answer was no longer just the council. Humanity was watching. Within the council chamber, the reactions were no less intense. Some delegates demanded immediate action. Cut all human communication. Declare them a threat. Mobilize the fleets. Others remained silent, calculating. They saw the human ships still waiting outside, still calm, still perfectly positioned, not attacking, not leaving. Respect began to grow where fear once ruled. A senior military commander spoke quietly. If they wanted us gone, we would already be gone. No one argued. Humanity had shown power without using it. That frightened the galaxy more than any weapon. Messages began to arrive. Independent systems sent quiet signals toward Earth. Not demands, requests. Observe us. Trade with us. Protect us. For the first time in history, worlds asked not for domination but for fairness. The council watched this shift with alarm. Their influence was slipping. Alliances formed quickly. Species once divided by old wars found common ground. They shared one fear and one hope. The fear was the council's past. The hope was humanity's restraint. Inside the chamber, Elias Monroe stood silently as the chaos unfolded. He did not speak. He did not guide events. He allowed the truth to move on its own. The high speaker finally addressed him again. You have destabilized the galaxy, it said. Elias shook his head. No, he replied. We revealed it. The difference mattered. Reports continued to arrive. Council fleets hesitated to move. Orders were questioned. Commanders feared becoming the next exposed secret. Power, built on silence, collapsed quickly. Some council members reacted with anger. This is manipulation, one shouted. They turned the galaxy against us. Another replied with bitter clarity. No, we did that ourselves. Respect for humanity grew. Even among former enemies, they had not demanded loyalty. They had not forced obedience. They had simply told the truth, a rare thing in the galaxy. On Earth's side, the human fleet remained unchanged. No reinforcements arrived. No aggressive movement followed. That calm became a message. Humans did not need to rush. They had time. Several major powers sent formal requests to Earth, not to the Council. To Earth. They asked for observers, mediators, neutral oversight. The Council saw what was happening. Their role as the center of the galaxy was fading. Fear turned inward. What if humans judge us next? What if our secrets are revealed? One delegate whispered the unthinkable. What if they already know everything? The High Speaker felt its ancient certainty crack. For ages, the Council believed itself eternal. Now, it felt fragile. It addressed Elias once more. You forced change upon us, it said. Elias answered softly. No, he said. We give you the chance to choose it. That choice weighed heavily. Some council members withdrew from the chamber entirely. Others stayed, watching, thinking, afraid to act. The galaxy did not wait. Trade routes shifted toward human neutral zones. New agreements formed without council approval. A quiet alliance grew, not built on fear of humanity, built on trust in their restraint. The council realized the truth too late. Humanity had not come to take power. They'd come to remove the council's monopoly on it. That was far more dangerous. As the session drew to a close, the High Speaker spoke to the chamber. The galaxy has changed, it said, and we must decide what we become next. Elias listened out outside. Human ships held position, steady and silent against the stars. They did not celebrate. They did not threaten. They waited. Because humanity understood something the galaxy was only now learning. True power does not need to shout. And when the galaxy reacts, the quiet ones shape the future. The Galactic Council reconvened in silence. No arguments, no shouting, no confidence. The chamber that once ruled the stars now felt smaller outside. The human fleet still waited on Mavine. UNTHREATEN ING ONIGN RABLE. The High Speaker floated at the center, its light dimmer than before. It looked around at the remaining council members. Many seats were empty. Some species had already withdrawn. Others had chosen neutrality. The age of certainty was over. We must conclude this session, the High Speaker said slowly. No one objected. It turned to Elias Monroe. Humanity has altered the balance of the galaxy, it said, not through force, but through exposure. Elias listened quietly. That was never our goal, he replied. It was the result. The council absorbed those words. For the first time, they understood something important. Humans did not act for dominance. They acted for consequences. A senior delegate spoke, its voice low and tired. You showed restraint when you had power, it said. That is unfamiliar. Elias nodded. Double quotes. We learned what happens when power acts without restraint, he said. On our own world. The chamber grew still. Earth's history was not clean, not peaceful, not proud. But humans did not hide it. They learned from it. The High Speaker asked the final question. What happens now? Elias took a moment before answering. Now, he said, you decide who you want to be. The council waited. You can continue. As before, Elias continued. Silence. Control. Erasure. He paused. Or you can change. The High Speaker's light flickered. And if we choose not to, Elias answered without threat, then the galaxy will, he said. That truth landed hard. The council no longer held the center. The galaxy had seen too much. The High Speaker lowered itself slightly. Earth requests no seat of authority. It asks no, Elias replied. We request transparency. A quiet realization spread through the chamber. Humans did not want to rule. They wanted rules to apply to everyone. That was more dangerous to old power than any fleet. The High Speaker made its decision. The Galactic Council will open its records, it announced. All of them. Shock rippled through the chamber. All future votes will be observed. It continued. No species will be erased in silence again. Elias closed his eyes briefly. That was enough. Outside the chamber, the human fleet finally moved out, not forward, away, slowly. Calmly, the ships adjusted course. No dramatic exit. No celebration. They were leaving. The galaxy watched in disbelief. They're going, one delegate whispered. Yes. another replied. Because they already won. Elias turned to leave as well. The high speaker stopped him. You did not stay. It said you did not demand control. Elias looked back. We did not come to stay, he said. We came to be heard. And they had been. As the human ships vanished into the dark, messages spread across the galaxy. Not of fear, of relief. Smaller worlds began to speak openly. Old conflicts paused. Secrets surfaced. The galaxy was messy now, but it was honest. On Earth, the news reached every city. No cheering crowds, no victory speeches, just quiet understanding. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage and chosen not to dominate it far across the stars. The council chamber remained lit, different now. Watched, accountable. The final realization settled into every corner of known space. Earth did not arrive with weapons. Raised. Earth arrived with truth. And when Earth entered the Galactic Council, the entire galaxy did not fall silent out of fear. It fell silent because it was finally listening.